What's going on, people? Not sure what happened to my voice there, sorry. Welcome back to the channel. Um, Sean Strickland. Man, the only time I thought I would be thanking the MMA gods for Sean Strickland is at dull UFC press conferences, where he makes things much more exciting and entertaining. If I'm being brutally honest, I don't think he's like the funniest guy in the world, but I think he's sure a hell of a lot more entertaining than most fighters. But yeah, I'm gonna quickly get into the breaking news of the main event for this coming up UFC Fight Night, the first fight night back from the I guess winter break. But before I do that, please. I live in rural BC, okay? Where it's totally normal to just have chickens in your backyard. I know that might seem weird to some of you, but we like to support local around here, and the free range eggs that come from your neighbor are gonna beat the eggs that come from the grocery store every time. Now, the way they've got that set up is they've got like a little wooden hut at the end of their driveway with their eggs and a jar. It's $5 for a dozen. They trust all their neighbors to put their $5 in the jar and to not steal the eggs. I'm gonna trust you like I trust my neighbors. Please put the metaphoric, I guess, figurative $5 in the jar. And hit the subscribe button for my eggs, which are my videos. If you needed that explained. Okay, so, anyways. Sean Strickland just saved this goddamn card, dude. Like, seriously, thank the MMA gods for Sean Strickland. He saved this card. This card was not looking fantastic, and I know they're kind of stacking up the pay-per-view events that are upcoming, because both of them I'm like extremely excited for. And yes, I am a fight junkie, but and I get excited for pretty much any new fights, but you know, this fight night was kind of lacking, and Kelvin Gastelum was like the biggest name on the card. You know, if I'm being brutally honest, man, this fight is better than the one that just fell out. Like, I think that Sean Strickland versus Imavov is going to be much more competitive. I don't think Kelvin Gastelum's got a whole lot left in him. You know, he just hasn't really he hasn't really evolved, I guess, would be like the best way to put it. I don't know. And in fact, he's probably like devolved. I think he's 1 and 5 in his last 6. You know, ever since that Izzy fight, things have kind of gone downhill. I know MMA math doesn't work like 99% of the time, but if you look at the way that Kelvin Gastelum beat Ian Heinisch and then the way that Imavov beat Ian Heinisch, I mean, geez. If you just looked at that, you'd expect Imavov to kind of run through him, which I think probably would have happened. Imavov is good everywhere. And I know that Kelvin Gastelum's a tough dude. Tough motherfucker, dude. Like, straight up. He's tough as nails. He's got a probably, I don't know if anybody here used to wear fitted New Era hats, but that guy's probably got like an 8.5 head. His head's massive. And he has about no neck. Just about no neck. So, hard to rock a guy like that, you know? His head's kind of just like fucking, I don't know. Like, it was like, you know, when he was his shoulders are here, his head just kind of got planted on them. So when you hit him in the head, it's kind of hard to make his neck go, which in turn makes it hard to KO him. But I think he's kind of like on his way out, and I think that this might have even been like the last, you know, kind of nail in the coffin kind of deal. So maybe he's just figuring, Because, I mean, what did he have, like a lost tooth or something? I mean, bro, you're putting your mouthpiece in. I get it that it's shitty, and he's probably thinking he needs a win real bad, so he wants to stack the odds completely in his favor. And I think that he knew damn well, you know, maybe I'll get a more favorable matchup somewhere down the line. Now, this is why I don't make my pick videos, like, right away on Monday. Because shit always happens, man. I like, something always happens, man. This is why, even, dude, up until, like, I buy my pay-per-view events right before they're about to fucking happen, because you never know, dude. I can't remember which fight card it was, but I think it was Amanda Nunes was the main event, and it might have been her and Valentina. I can't remember, but it was one where she pulled out of, and Dana White got really upset, and he goes, she will never main event again. And of course she did end up main eventing again, but at the time, I had purchased the pay-per-view, and my wife and I had gone out on, like, a little date to the mall and dinner, and I was just going to be recording the fights, and then if I got back a little later, I could just watch them. And fuck, that card was already shit, and then she pulled out, and I was so choked. I was like, I would not have bought this pay-per-view if I knew that was going to be the case. So it's kind of the same thing with my picks videos. I go, I'm going to wait and see until, you know, wait and make sure that I don't go and do a bunch of research for a fight, and then, you know, one of the fighters pulls out. Because last night I started it, and I started by watching all the Imavov fights in the UFC. And I'm glad that I did not make myself watch all Kelvin Gastelum's fights, or at least his last, like, 4 or 5, you know. Which isn't really fair, because I would probably watch ones where he won so I could see what he does well. And it would have been a lot of time wasted. So, I think Sean Strickland's got a much better chance here against Imavov than Kelvin Gastelum would. If I'm being brutally honest, man, I know there's always so much hype behind fighters that are born in Dagestan. And I know that Imavov fights out of Paris, France, but he's still Dagestani, right? I was a little underwhelmed. I can understand the hype. Probably a lot of it's to do with the fact that he is Dagestani. And I mean, he is very good technically everywhere. He's not, like, amazing in one spot. He's good everywhere. The Phil Haas fight was pretty underwhelming up until the last, I don't know, 45 seconds. He almost finished him. And then the Shabazian fight was good, but that was when Shabazian was kind of on his skid there. I'm wondering if the Shabazian that we saw fight at UFC 282, if that fight would be any different. Two young dudes. And I mean, it was competitive for a while. Shabazian got out of a lot of bad spots there. The only problem I see is that Sean Strickland does not finish a whole lot of people. And I'm thinking he's taking this fight because he just wants that bad taste out of his mouth, because I think a lot of people, including myself, to a certain extent, think that he should have won that fight against Jared Cannonier. And he probably just wants to start the year off good, make a nice chunk of change, and hopefully get that bad taste out of his mouth. So the good thing is it's being, the weight class is at 205. So I guess Sean doesn't have to cut a whole lot of weight, because he probably went and got fat from the holidays. I don't know. I have a feeling Imavov will end up taking it to the ground, because I think Sean might piece him up on the feet a little bit with his boxing. I know he fights like if you were to watch Sean Strickland fight, you're like, that guy can't fight. But he can, man. He makes it work. It's weird. Like, he kind of fights like a blind person who can't see, and they're in a room, and they're trying to, like, feel out where they are. so they don't run into anything like Alex Pereira's left hook. But he makes it work, man. I mean, he beat the shit out of Uriah Hall. And there was another, I can't remember the other one, but that I'm thinking of where he did particularly well. Obviously, Imavov's probably, he's a lot more technical. And his ground game's a lot better. I still think it's going to be way more competitive than the Gastelum fight, and I'm not mad about this last minute switch. But I am glad that it happened before I made my picks video, which will be coming most likely tomorrow. Possibly Thursday. I don't like doing it that late. Main reason because I don't want anybody watching to think that I make my picks after like everybody else does, so that I can go and cherry pick and whatever. Since I've started doing these videos, I don't even watch any other picks videos until after the fights, and then I go and compare how well I did against other folks. So that's what I'll be doing. So yeah, tomorrow or Thursday it will be coming out. And yeah, this is why. Just because I would have just wasted a bunch of time, probably a couple hours watching Kelvin Gastelum fights, and wouldn't you know, pulls out. So it will be coming. Again, thank the MMA gods for Sean Strickland. I know a lot of people don't like him, but dude's game. And man, he might be one of the most honest fighters on the roster. So for those two reasons alone, I like him, and it's going to be a good fight. So yeah, be back tomorrow, hopefully with the picks video. If not, I'll find something else to talk about. Please, again, be my neighbor, bro. Don't take the eggs without leaving the money, 'cause I ain't there to watch you do it. Just hit the subscribe button. You know, just do it, dude. You'll forget about it. All right. Ta-ta. See ya.